Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Tuesday the 9th of February 2021, and we're looking at why we believe President Biden will succeed in getting his $1.9 trillion stimulus package through the Senate, and what the implications of that could be for gold and silver prices. So let's take a look. On the 20th of January of this year, we published a video entitled, What Janet Yellen's Appointment Means for the US Dollar and Gold and Silver Prices, followed by a video last Sunday entitled, Yellen and Lagarde Will Spend Whatever It Takes, MMT, Modern Monetary Theory, Effect on US Dollar, and then yesterday's video entitled, Gold, silver, dollar, equities, oil and Bitcoin all rising after Yellen's comments. And we've placed links to all three below. Now in each of these we highlighted our prediction and growing trend of a move towards a much more relaxed monetary and fiscal policy by the new Biden administration, with attention given to stimulate the economy as quickly and as largely as possible, even hinting that perhaps we're moving into a realm of modern monetary theory, if we're not already there, that is. Now, we have seen gold and silver prices rise recently, albeit modestly, on the back of these comments, though the equity markets have, at least so far, benefited even more. Now, one of the breaks we identified as potentially being on the horizon was the fact that it may prove difficult for the new administration to get the $1.9 trillion stimulus package through Congress, or more specifically through the Senate, and that a watered-down version was at least a potentiality. While reporting today by Bloomberg, if correct, suggests that there is sufficient pressure from those on the left of the Democrat Party to ensure that the full stimulus is sought and voted for by just a simple majority in the Senate. We'll just quote a few excerpts from that article. Quote, President Joe Biden and White House officials are siding with Liberal Democrats stung by past efforts to reach compromise with Republicans and refusing to heed GOP appeals to scale back the administration's $1.9 trillion stimulus. Biden entered talks last week with a group of Republican senators who proposed a bill just one-third of the size of his pandemic relief package. They were the first lawmakers he invited to the White House as president, raising concern on the left he might seriously entertain their counter-proposal. But on Monday, following a lobbying effort by Democratic lawmakers and activists who sought to keep Biden committed to his own plan, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the stimulus will probably advance under a procedure that requires only simple majority support in the Senate. I don't think the American people are particularly worried about how the direct relief gets into their hands, she told reporters. The most likely path at this point is through a reconciliation process. Biden's talks with 10 Senate Republicans had reminded some liberal allies of his role negotiating the 2009 recovery bill as vice president. That effort was kept under $1 trillion to appease a handful of Republican supporters, a concession now regarded on the left as a misstep. We can't let the same thing happen again. More than 200 former Obama administration officials, including Valerie Jarrett and John Podesta, said in an open letter to Congress published on Friday. Obama reached out a lot, and he got a clenched fist rather than an open hand all too often, Representative Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, the third-ranking Democrat in the House, said in an interview last week. It got to the Senate, Obama decided to try to be bipartisan, and it got reduced by over $200 billion. Everybody now knows that lowballing that number gave us a puny recovery." Unquote. Now, House Democrats announced yesterday a draft concerning key legislative plans that will comprise of Joe Biden's COVID-19 relief bill. Now, these include a number of factors. For example, plans to bump the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025. Another round of stimulus payments with billions of dollars planned for airline staff, airports and trains. $1,400 payments to individuals earning up to $75,000 a year or couples making $150,000 a year. $1,400 payments to adult and child dependents in households that qualify. An extension and expansion of unemployment benefits that are scheduled to run out in mid-March. The bill would increase the weekly federal benefit to $400 from $300 and extend it through the end of August. Benefits for self-employed individuals and gig workers and those who have exhausted their regular jobless benefits would also be extended. Paid leave benefits for workers and tax credits for employers with fewer than 500 employees to reimburse them for the cost of the leave. An increase in the annual child credit to $3,600 a year for children 5 and younger and $3,000 for those 6 and up. The money would come in monthly installments from July through December. A bump in the earned income tax credit for low-wage workers and the dependent care tax credit for children and adults. $130 billion for kindergarten through 12th grade school reopenings. $40 billion for higher education institutions. $39 billion for childcare businesses. $5 billion for extended pandemic food benefits. $4 billion for expanded home heating assistance. $1.4 billion for senior care services. Provisions to tighten workplace safety standards for COVID-19, and funding to subsidise health insurance for the newly unemployed and to address a rise in domestic violence and child abuse. And there's no doubt we've even missed out a number of provisions despite that quite exhaustive list. A list that is extensive and significant and will undoubtedly increase the national debt quite significantly, at least short term. Now, obviously the rationale is that income generated from recovery, and a quick recovery at that, will help repay this. But it is by no means certain that it will work for sure, with most economists previously quoting diminishing returns each time an increase in public spending is announced. Now, we shall hold judgment on that, as Clinton showed, at least for part of his presidency, that additional spending could then help balance a budget. But we're not using that as a role model, but there is a potential that that can occur to some extent. However, with the national debt being quite so high, it's extremely difficult to see how even stopping it getting higher isn't a significant, if not overwhelming, challenge. Now, what is more interesting is the potential impact all of this could have on the US dollar, equity markets and gold and silver. We've already seen Bitcoin jump to $48,000 today, and we produced a video on this earlier entitled Elon Musk's Tesla investment boosts Bitcoin above $48,000. Is this good for gold and silver? And again, as with the other videos we've mentioned, we've placed a link below. Now, US equity markets closed up yesterday around 1%, and Asia Pacific markets closed up around 0.5%. The dollar index is down to 90.6, that's down 0.32. Gold is up at $1,843, and silver is also up at $27.62, though both have been marginally higher earlier today. There is no doubt in our minds that all of this will act as tailwinds for gold and silver eventually, And if the Biden plan does work, and he manages at the same time to improve vaccination levels and reduce lockdowns, then silver will benefit further from its industrial demand component, while also benefiting from a potentially lower US dollar, should that be the result. The issue is, of course, when will all of this happen? And frankly, it is difficult to predict, as factors are both variable and constantly changing. And so too are the reactions from other countries and central banks. Needless to say, the medium to long term, we're still very comfortable with precious metals, and there may even be a short-term fillip as well. And for those with a speculative nature, Bitcoin too, even at these lofty levels, appears attractive. What do you think? Do share your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with us. And if you haven't already done so, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, not forgetting to press the bell sign so you're notified of our videos as and when they're published, and not forgetting to nip over to the Richard and Greg channel, where we discuss Joe Biden's presidency and some of the foreign policy initiatives that he is embarking upon. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.